everybody. So thank you for joining me on this wonderful Friday evening. As always, all the gratitude in the world for you guys taking the time to join me, and hopefully the guests that I bring on and everybody that I have the intention of sharing with you guys adds value to your life. And that's one of the things that I strive to do. You guys know me very well. The mission has not changed. My heart's changed, and it's changed the way a lot of things that I do. So, again, I always express all the gratitude. You guys are what makes this work. You guys are the fuel that burns my engine and makes me want to do this every single day. So thank you, everybody, so much. So, all right, it's start of a early holiday weekend. So hopefully most of you guys did not have to work like I didn't. But you know what? It didn't matter. I started my day the same day as I do every day. I got up at 4:30 this morning, started getting my coffee, got everything running, laced up the shoes, went out and actually did a run this morning. Felt really good, got pumped. And then I remembered who I was having on the show. And that got me super excited. I'm actually having two gentlemen. One of them you're already familiar with, guys. You'll know who he is when I pull him up. The other one, though, if you do not know who he is, you're in for a pleasant surprise this evening. So let me start by giving him this little bit intro. So this evening's guest believes in living a life aligned with values. Much like myself, we believe a lot of the same things and principles of life, that our core values make up a lot of our character. A man after my own heart and a kindred spirit. I admire his work, his fire, his passion, and his energy. Guys, you can check out his work at his website. Let me just give that to you. And that's at www.lifestorycoaching.net. And, I implore you to go connect with him on just about any social media platform. Go to his website, because you guys are going to have your hearts and spirits filled as well, just the way I did. So do me a favor, guys, and help me welcome to the show this evening, Mr. Matt Gagnon. How are you doing, Mr. Matt?
Well, after an intro like that, man, I don't know how I could not be doing well. So thank you, brother. I really, really, really appreciate it. I'm deeply honored.
No problem. Like I said before, I'm just as honored to have you on the show, because, like I said, I feel like sometimes people like yourself have a lot of the same heart, and we do the things that we do because we really do want to go out and help change the world and help impact people's lives. So everybody else, let me go ahead and introduce the other gentleman for this evening. You guys know him. He's been on here a couple times. Help me welcome to the show, Mr. Michael Padurano. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. We're going to have a 3-year-old in and out, but that's okay. It's normal.
This is everyday life that we live, so nothing should be changing at all. We will continue the show as always and like we do. So let me start by asking Matt a few things. Like I said, I watched a lot of other shows. You've been on a lot of podcasts and seen a lot of things that you're doing. You live down in Austin. You don't live that far from me, about 3-hour drive down from Dallas. So we are Texans. One of the things that I found interesting before we start getting into the real serious conversation is you had mentioned in another interview with Mr. Roger L. Brooks that you liked barbacoa. Now,
oh man, you did your homework.
I did my homework. I grew up in a Mexican household. My grandparents made a living off of creating, making, and selling barbacoa, tamales, just again tailoring around the community. So I know when I saw that, I go, okay, wow, there's one thing I can talk to him about for sure. And you had mentioned, don't tell people how it's made. Yes, don't tell people how it's made, because again, sight out of sight of mind. Some people will go, wow. And if you haven't tried lengua is a different as well. And for those who don't know, it's cow tongue. But let me tell you what.
All right.
It will blow your mind, because it is like the softest piece of meat you can think of. I know I've grown up on it. I've had my daughter trick her into eating it. And then when she said, what is this? It's really good. And I told her, sweetheart, that's cow tongue.
Yeah, that's right. All right, it's going on the list. I'll eat it. I don't care. I'll eat it.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Please give it a try. It is a delicacy. So, and another thing that I had seen about you that is when you were interning for the San Antonio Spurs back in 2003.
Yeah, man, that's going back.
That's going back years, right? That was the bane of my existence because I'm a Mavericks fan, and it was always hurting to watch that happen. So
that was a good year, baby. That was a championship year. That was David's last season.
Years, and yes, sir. And that was that was always a harder thing to watch until we experienced it ourselves. But gosh, watching what happened down in that little town and all the, nice. It's a great city, great people.
Right on.
I've been down there a few times and I enjoy it every time going down there. Just that team, though, they killed me for a lot.
They killed a lot of people. Don't worry.
Exactly. So, all right, let's get into starting about the conversation. So, I had seen it, like I said, again, I've seen a lot of your talks and a lot of things you talk about. And one of the things that you make very well known is about your transformations and how you started. And let's go ahead and start there. Where did your journey that you became a real turning point in your life that you wanted to start helping people? What was there? There's always some point in our lives that we figure out that at this moment, this is the spark that I'm going to become the person that I've always dreamed of. What was that moment for you?
I think as Joseph Campbell calls it in The Hero's Journey, it's a call to adventure. And call to adventure isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Actually, it's not. It's never usually. No. It's usually something flips you upside down and turns you on your ass. And you either answer that call and you go on this new journey of self-discovery and transformation and search for purpose and identity, or you don't. You just stay where you are. You stay stuck and you stay a victim. And I'd say I had multiple calls, and I answered all of them. And they each took me further and further and further along to get to that point where I was finally ready to answer the big call, and that was serving others. So by the age of 39 years ago, I hit a serious rock bottom, and it was challenging. And it was it was a point where I had just overcome a suicide attempt. I had hit this bottom where I didn't understand who I was anymore. I had negotiated and compromised all my values in life, and it was just a terrible place to be. And I started a boot camp of self-discovery at that time. I had drifted so far from who I thought I was, or who I thought I was supposed to be in life, lost track of everything that was important to me, and I really started going through this shedding process of ripping all of these upgrades on my body that I thought were important, like the fancy clothes, the arrogance, the ego, the fancy salary, all that crap, my pride. I just had to have it slowly ripped off me to get back to who I was. And so, doubled up on therapy, group work, you name it. But, that got me for a ways. And then really, I think the biggest turning point was when I turned 33, my son's born. And that was a powerful moment, but it was a culmination of things. It was a series of like 3 events, really. My son being born first, and my wife really, really having a hard time during that birth. Like it was challenging. Didn't know if she'd make it or not. And then having my dad there for the birth also from Maine. He had flown all the way down to Texas, and he was there. Like having my best friend there was amazing. And then really meeting my son for the first time, and my wife wasn't able to be in the room when he was wheeled in. She was still being operated on at the time. It wasn't good. And I see this beautiful boy, and I'm still in this retail career where I'm working, nonstop, 25 nights a month. I'm on the road, 26 nights, constantly gone. And I'm like, man, I want to show this kid what it takes to build something of his own. I was like, I refuse to miss out on his life, and I'm going to show him it's never too late to write your own comeback story. And so that was a commitment I made to him, and I remember taking my shirt off and I held him against my skin, because I didn't want him to feel alone in this world. I wanted him to feel contact, connection, and it was just a game changer, man. It felt so amazing, and sitting on that couch. Once my wife made it through and she was safe, sitting on the couch with my dad, and he's got his arm around me, telling him I'm going to be a good father. It was a dream come true. And then a month later, my dad died instantly of a heart attack, and he was 61 years old, and I lost my best friend. And so it was devastating. And then, you know, a couple years go by, and that's when I finally decided to make the leap where I'm like, man, I'm tired of leading teams to just sell shirts and shoes for a living in retail. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. The intensity, the Kool-Aid we were drinking, like it just, I didn't want to get anyone amped up to work on a Thanksgiving anymore. It just didn't make sense to me. All I wanted to do was help serve people. I didn't want anyone to feel alone in this world with how they feel. So I found out about coaching school. I found out about the Coaches Training Institute. And I doubled down on money, man, that I didn't have at the time. I mean, this was a $15,000 plus program, all said and done. It was going to be a year long. It was going to be time and energy and financial commitment. I had skin in the game. But by September 2014, I'm in. I turned 34. I took my first course, and I was on a journey, still working my full-time gig. And we got a brand new house I just built. My wife's out of work, but by the third piece was April, when my health had finally collapsed. April of 2015, that was it. My health had been snowballing for years. And finally, my body tapped out. I said, we're done. And April 10th, man, sitting in a parking lot at the doctor's office after being diagnosed with a bunch of stuff and this garbage, I was like, I don't want to take any more pills if I can avoid that. Maybe I just need to change the job. Maybe I need to change the lifestyle. And so I made the call to HR. I said, I'm not coming in. I'm going on medical leave. And that was it. I wasn't going back. It took me a while to realize that. But I wasn't. I mean, I was shaking. I was so nervous and scared because I knew there's no going back. I was going to lose a 6-figure salary. And I've already been overdrafting my bank account. And I got an infant, and my wife's out of work, and I got a brand new house, and I'm sick, and I can barely move. I'm falling asleep every day, just standing up sometimes. I'm falling asleep. My moods are swinging all over the place. I've got crippling depression at times. I'm having these weird seizures. I'm lashing out at people. I'm crying. I'm yelling. Like, I'm all over the place. I am unrecognizable even to myself. I'm like, what is going on with me? All the stuff I used to be so good at with conflict resolution and just all this stuff being great under pressure, gone. Like, just gone. Every single day, something was being taken away or changing within me. And it was like getting to know a different person every day for me, too. And then on the outside, I see family and I see friends looking at me like, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you an asshole? Like, I'm like, I don't know, man. I didn't know what was wrong. We didn't have all the answers. That was a turning point. And it set me on a mission, man, because there I am. Like, I've got nothing except for just me and my faith. And I got my wife and my son. I'm like, all right, you don't know how creative and resourceful you are until your back's against the wall.
Man, that is
right.
That is the quintessential way.
You don't know.
You don't know until you get there, right? Till it's there. It's right there in your face, and you got to figure it out.
Epic turning point.
That is beautiful. Man.
I needed to get sick. I needed to be brought to my knees, because I was so, I was learning so many lessons, but I was still relying on one lie. And that one lie was, my only value is that I can out-hustle anybody. I had that belief. I didn't believe I was smart. I didn't believe I was naturally gifted, really. Coaching was the only thing I felt like was my raw natural skill. Like, the one thing it felt right. It was so real to me. But I couldn't have it, I felt like, too. I was like, man, this is my thing. I'm finally like the A student, and I can't have it because I can't afford to leave my job. That's cruel. And I was throwing a tantrum. But that one big lie is that, man, my energy is all I've got. It's carried me through everything, through a great athletic, career in high school, through my retail career. I just out hustled everybody. I could work 24 hours a day, and that was a lie, because I found out once that was stripped from me, once my energy was gone, once I destroyed it, man, it was brutal. I'm laying in bed. I can barely get up some days. Like, brushing my teeth felt like a victory some days. And now I have to own this idea that I'm actually smart. I'm an intelligent person, and I'm also creative, and I can do other things. I had to learn how to ask for help. That was a new one. I had to learn how to ask for help. I had to learn how to trust people. Like, so I'm just laying there in bed. And, you know, for me, faith is a value. Whatever anyone else believes in, it's totally cool. But like for me, I'm laying in bed and I'm looking up at God, and I stopped asking, like, why is this happening to me? Instead, I reframed it to, what are you trying to teach me today? What are you trying to teach me, man? I'm listening. And that was the funny part, because I remember hearing it in my head. He just says, well, I'm glad I finally have your attention, because you've been hustling for so long, like I couldn't talk to you. I wasn't listening. You know, I wasn't listening to anybody.
Man.
It was a powerful moment to finally be in this place to just listen. And so I'll tell you what, the whole idea of hustle and grind is, yeah, you got to hustle and grind when you're going to be successful in life, but not all the time. It's not what the picture people paint online is, hustle and grind, hustle and grind. Like, it's not sustainable. There are sprints where you can do that, but you can't, that can't be your marathon, because it'll you'll end up where I was, you know, just beat down.
No, man.
So, yeah, it was rough.
It sounded like you took a page out of my life story and you just read it. Same sort of deal. I had 2 daughters before, and then my son was born, 2013. 2 months later, my father passed away at the age of 63. Rough. I know. You were saying that, it took me instantly back to those moments, right? That's when the journey started to find myself. I had to, you know, you got to, at that point, you got to take it and go, you know what? It's not enough. This is not acceptable. This is not the life that I know that I can lead. And at that point, I started a journey. And it's led me all the way up into this point right now where here we are, our paths are crossing. And I feel like it's kismet. We're supposed to talk. I was supposed to meet you at this moment, at this time, or else it feels like I'm reading it. Everything that he's telling me is everything that I've written down in pages in my books and my journals and everything that I write. And I go, that's my story.
What's that tell you, though?
You know?
What's that tell you, though? Like, if you're hearing your story, what does that mean to you?
That means to me that my story's still not done. My story still has pages to be written. Every day that I get to turn a page is a new journey, a new adventure, a new learning lesson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For me, that's what that means. It means a lot to go and say, okay, look, yesterday was written. That's me. Those are my words. Today's a blank page. What can I go make? What can I go make? And it's really how I wake up every morning and live my life now. Is I have to go, okay, I start my day. Here's what I do. I wake up with purpose. I go down and I make sure I go out with purpose, and I write down intent. What do I need to do today?
Yeah.
How can I change? How can I change the world? Constantly. I will be an ever learning student until I'm gone. I had a guest on. He said it the best way for me to understand it, and it made a lot of sense to me. He said, I always ask everybody the same question at the end of the show. And his answer was, he took it from Zig Ziglar, and he said, on my gravestone, I want it to read, all used up.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right? That's what, and that's why I strive now every day, because this was never the start of the journey. This is where the journey's led me. It was never this way. But again, it was about going out here and doing the things and talking to people and connecting and seeing what the world had to offer to me. Mm-hmm. And crafting it every single day. And it's what this is how people ask me, how do you get in contact with so many wonderful people? Simple answer, I care. I care. I care who I talk about.
That's right.
If I talk to you, you mean something to me. Literally. And that's the way that I live life. And that's how I build relationships. And these friendships all started out as just acquaintances, mm-hmm. and gone to a whole other level. Because they know I impart and take as much wisdom from each person that I talk to. And that's what that's what I strive to do every single day. And people have told me, you know what, you're and I say this again, you're going to burn out. Well, it's not burnout right now, because you know why? It's a drive. It's the thing that I wake up to every single morning.
Yeah, man.
And if I'm doing this and I feel it like this, it doesn't feel like work. This feels like fun to me.
Yeah. You're filling your tank with your values. And it's clean burning, sustainable fuel. You know, unlike if you were to fill that emptiness with like booze or pornography or just like any kind of addiction thing, anything that you were looking at to just fill your tanks, like it's not clean burning. You'll just empty through it real quickly, and then you feel ashamed of yourself afterwards. You can't maintain it. So yeah, when you fill your cups with your values, man, you can run forever on those things. And that's what I forgot about. You know, everything, that emptiness I was feeling inside, I was filling those empty tanks with crap that didn't belong there because I forgot what my values were. All my values had been defined by other people. You know, yes. I let other people define my values. I let society define my values. I checked off all these damn boxes that said I'd be successful. I was a good boy. Like, that was the thing. I was mad at the world because I was like, I was a good kid. Like, I did everything right. And I got the shit stomped on me. You know? Mm-hmm. And then I stomped on myself too. And I just was unlovable. And it started with me. But one of the things I hear is when I hear you say, man, I feel like you're telling my story, what that tells me is the value of telling our stories. Because that's what I mean. No one should feel alone in this world. And the only reason we can do that is if we share our stories and then somebody else says, shit, that's mine too. Because you know what? Like, none of our stories are that different. Now, the specifics are, the facts of it, but the emotions are the same. The emotions are usually the most consistent part, because I don't want anyone to ever minimize their stories. Oh, man, I didn't go anything like that. I was like, but you know what? Maybe you didn't, but you felt probably the same emotions, like the shame or the anger, the sadness, the joy. We all experience those, the hardships, the hills and valleys, you know, so you can't compare your story to anybody else's, but you can connect with it, you know, so that's a huge thing. That's what that tells me is, man, we got to keep sharing our stories so we can be more connected. Because if you don't, then you just feel like an island and you feel crazy, and it's not good. So,
every day.
Pure validation in that. And it can also be a reminder, too, that you're not done. You got to keep writing. You know, you got way more chapters to go. So, man, that's powerful to hear. I'm glad to hear you say that because, yeah, it validates what I do.
It is. And again, I was like you. It took me a long time to figure out what my core values were. It really did. To define who I was as a person. So that I had those foundations to know who my character was. You know, I had listened to other people. Hey, you're really good at this. You're this. You're this. Was that satisfied with me? No.
Yeah.
Until I went and looked. I had to go look really deep down. Look at everything. Look at my insecurities. Look at everything about me. Reconstruct myself from zero into what I am now. I will never go back to being that person again. Ever again. But you know what? I will keep that person close by me because it'll be a constant reminder what it was like. And remember that as I go forward and as I grow in every single step and process of the way, take a reminder and read back those pages that I wrote.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing, I hear that a lot, and I totally get it about keeping that version of you nearby to remind you. But one reframe I offer on that is I don't like having that person hang out near me, that version of me. I prefer not. Like, we've made our peace. What I do instead is I surround myself with amazing human beings that will remind me of who I am, not who I was. But who I am today. You know, I surround myself with amazing human beings that align with my values, and they will remind me who I am and not who I was. Because when I look at that who I was, I feel shamed sometimes. I'm like, man, I don't want to see that again. You know, and granted, it might be a good reminder to remind myself how far I've come.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to use that version of me as a reason to keep going and keep being better, because it's kind of like, man, it's just not, again, for me, a sustainable motivation. But having an inner circle around me that will remind me who I am when I'm down, that's a
Volumes,
beautiful
right?
thing. Yeah, it's a beautiful
Volumes.
thing. So I don't discount the way you said it at all, but it's just a reframe, another way of looking at it that I encourage you. Just check it out sometime, about not being reminded of who you were, but being reminded of who you are and
Yeah.
who you're becoming. So, because I honestly, I get a lot
Well,
of clients.
I think what I meant to say, and I'm
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt you, is by using what I do in journaling, I go see a different person back then.
Yeah.
And I say, you know what? Yes, that was me, but that's no longer me.
Absolutely.
So I can go back and yes, it is good to have people on the outside. Believe me, I've surrounded myself with people. I mean, one sitting right there next to you on camera that I trust with my life, with everything that I do. That guy. And I trust, and I had to learn how to ask for help. Yeah. I had to learn how to do so much, because I know I'm like you. I'm a hustler. I hustle. And I tell you what, I've worked 7 days a week for the last 4 years. I'm a sole provider for a family of 4. I know I've had to. I've always had the work ethic. Problem was learning how to let go. Learning how to let go of a lot of things and trusting people. Mm-hmm. Opening myself up. He said, you know what? I got to be vulnerable. I have to be. That's how I'm going to find the trust. And I know the people around me. If I can trust them with my vulnerability, I know I can trust them with my life and everything else, my creativity, my soul, my spirit, everything that goes along with that. And that's what I do. And that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
You know, and when I find these people, I hold on to them very, very dearly. Mm-hmm. Because they are the lifeblood of what I do and what I create. So, you know, that's why I said, me and you, I feel like you're reading a lot of my story, man. And it's frightening sometimes to go, man, there's a mirror out there of somebody of me, just like me out this world. And then it makes me feel good, because I know there's other people like you. There's other people in this world, and their intentions are they really have real deep intentions, and they live their character and they live who they are. And that's what I love. So, and again, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been such a really good, and sorry, Mr. Mike, do you have anything to say?
It's ironic, right? I'm never this quiet.
Over there looking all pretty though.
Yeah. I'm actually enjoying it, right? Like, I'm just sitting back and enjoying it and just thinking. It's funny, right? Like, it's a little off topic, but you know, me and Gabe connected and we hit it off right away, right? Like, we were immediately like family right off the bat. Like, it was literally just that moment. And Matt, I got introduced to Roger Brooks. You know, I was going through my situation. Roger Brooks, I reached out to him and he goes, go watch this guy's video of my interview with him, and then reach out to Matt. And I reached out to Matt, and it was really at a dark time, right? Like, I mean, I was in the midst of just hell, my personal hell. And this guy out of nowhere responded and sat there and went back and forth with me and talked to me. And it was a different perspective because he didn't know me personally, and he just was able to see it, feel it, and know where I was, and still lift me up. And after about a month, he kind of backed me into, well, let's talk a little more often. And then it was let's schedule a talk every week, and then it was text me every morning, and next thing you know, I'm accountable to this guy, and I love him. I love him for it. I love him for it. I mean, you know, he grabbed me at a moment where I was so low, and it took virtually a stranger to be able to lift me out of it, because, you know, the people closest to me really felt bad for where I was at, and they were very empathetic. And you were more kicking me in the ass and saying, get off your ass, right? And pull your damn self up and just get over it. And then I went through the medical thing and figured out that there was a medical issue, got that addressed. And now I talk to you all the time, right? And me and you were close. And I got to say, you're one of the most amazing human beings I've ever met, right? Like, it's crazy. I mean, you reached me when others couldn't, that have known me for a long time, because you took the time out and you cared. And your skill set, your talent, what you do for a living will change and save lives. What Gabe does, and Gabe gives people voices and gives people a platform, will save lives, will impact lives. And I'm still trying to figure out what I do, but that's okay. This is a culmination of things, right? This is bringing people together and putting them together and putting them on the same forum stage, connecting and just putting those dots together. And that's what I do, right? I connect and I see the connection. And this is one of the best ones I think I've ever done. And honestly, as I'm sitting here enjoying the show, not talking for 27 and a half minutes, which is so rare for me that I shut up for that long. Gabe will certify that. But it's, Matt, I mean, I want you to talk about what you're working on now. I want you to talk about what's coming next for you, because I'm excited for you. And I'm excited what you're going to bring to people. And the reason I say that is because the accessibility points are such at a reasonable basis that they'll work for anyone, right? So it's not like a normal coaching or a normal session. It's more accessibility to the masses. And I really want you to,
let me just say something to you, okay?
Me?
Don't sell yourself short. You've added value to both our lives, man. If you do not realize that I've taken so much from you, bro, I think that exactly. Give the love where it's supposed to go. You have been just as much a part of our lives as guys like us. We take as much from you as we give to you.
Oh yeah, I'm taking a lot from you.
Exactly, right. And you
don't
feel
even know it.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I take a lot from him as well, and we both.
I'm working on that side, all right, damn it. I'm doing the work. So leave me alone on that, okay? I'm literally doing the work, all right?
Mike, here's the thing.
Ahead.
You said something important. You said, you're still trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. And if you really want to find out what you're supposed to do and what your purpose is, you got to put you together first. And once you learn how to love you, and once you learn how to love all of the things that make you beautiful, of course you're going to find your purpose and you're going to find what you're supposed to do. Because, Mike, you're the kind of guy, you could be good at anything. And I could tell Gabriel could be the same way too. I was the same way. Like, good, give me any job, I'll crush it. But just because you're good at something doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. So when you find out what you're supposed to do, your purpose, that means that you found a place in your life where you found some self-love. So you got to learn to love you, all the parts of you, the parts of you that is, and that is going to be, all of it. Because every experience you've had in life will not be wasted. Every experience I've had in my life, I know without arrogantly saying, that I was built to thrive through any piece of adversity in my life so I could use it to serve somebody else. Because the gift that I was given was not to thrive through adversity, but to actually be able to articulate what it was like. Because most people struggle to do that. They don't know how to articulate, what does depression feel like? I can tell you what depression feels like while I'm depressed. That's hard. That's hard to be stuck in that moment and say, this is what it feels like right now. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people see that as like, well, man, because he can articulate it so well, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. Like, no, this is just my gift, really. Actually. Sometimes that's a curse, though. It's like, well, he's so articulate and he must be fine. I'm like, no, I'm crying inside. But that's the thing, the self-love part, man. Mike, you're a beautiful human being. And one thing I do want to remind you is like, I never wanted you. It's very rare that I actually tell somebody, get over your shit. Because honestly, more importantly, I was always like, deal with your stuff. Face it. Face your stuff. And then we just can't live in it. Eventually, we got to move. But you got to face your stuff and deal with it. And, man, you are a warrior. So I'm blessed to know you, man. You're doing epic shit in life.
Here.
I'm getting there.
Don't you dare say that. I'm getting there.
All right.
You are there.
I'm just doing it. I'm doing it.
I'm getting there. Yeah, here's the thing. I've been trying to bring him out of his shell so much, bringing him on these live shows. When I started doing these, Matt, he would always be in the background. He would want to do this right here. I said, you got to hop on with me. You got to hop on with me. You got to hop on with me. Now he's getting to the point where he feels a little bit more comfortable. Now I said, I need to start growing into this. Why? because your voice and your value and everything that you're talking about has value to somebody else. Somebody's going to find it. Somebody's going to connect. Somebody goes, that's me. I was him. I'm that guy right now. And that's what I do every time that I tell him, come on with me, and I bring other people on here. I provide people voices. This is what I do. I give people the opportunity to come on here and voice, talk. The greatest single thing that I've been able to do in this life was open my mouth. It has led me to this point. I am on the verge of doing 100 episodes next week. Next Friday will be my 100th episode, right? And it all started with me sitting at a table, ugly lighting, a camera, my mouth, and a message. And here I am talking to so many interesting people who share a lot of the same things that I love in life. Positive energy. I love the creativity part. All of these things are things that I'm passionate about. People told me this wasn't going to work. You're too neat. You're too broad. You don't have a niche. You don't have all this stuff. You know what I said? I don't give a shit. I'm going to do me. I'm going to create me. And guess what? Now people want to follow me. What does that say? I had enough belief in myself back then to go, you know what? This is my journey. This is what I'm supposed to do. I've never felt more comfortable in my skin than I do right now. Never. In 45 years of life, I've never felt this comfortable. And I wake up every day and say, this is me. This is the best part of what I'm doing right now. And I get up every day and I get to do it. And at some point, this will be my career. And at some point, it will be where I go out and start changing the world and changing people's lives.
Gabriel, let me tell you, this is your career. And whatever you're doing, what else you're doing, that's your side gig. It doesn't matter if your side gig's 80 hours a week or not. This is your career, And so that was me when I was still doing retail and I was just coaching on nights and weekends. I was like, no, I'm a full-time coach. I just have this retail gig on the side that just happened, but the better I was at that retail gig, it funded building my other business, and I wasn't intending to leave as soon as I did that. I'll tell you what, if you're waiting for the perfect moment to start something new, you better get used to waiting.
Exactly.
Sometimes you won't start something until you're desperate, until your back's up against the wall. Then maybe you'll do something, So that's the thing. I've talked to clients before and they're like, I've got my LLC and I've got my logo and I've got all this stuff put together. I got a nice nest egg. I just don't know if it's...
You're reading my life, man.
I need to know that it's going to be a big win. I'm like, you want a guarantee, lady? I remember talking to this woman. She was like, I said, you know what? You're not going to do it until you're desperate. You're not desperate enough to do this. She goes, what? I was like, you're not desperate enough. What's going to happen? What if you lose all your savings? What if you lose your health? What if you lose your support system? What if you lose your job? What are you going to do? Give up? You're just going to give up? No, you'll start that business that you finally have been wanting to do. So you're not desperate enough. And boy, man, that shook her up because I know what that's like. I had that rug pulled right out from underneath me. Now I answered the call. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to be a victim. Even though I was tempted to, there were points in the very beginning I wanted to be a victim. I was mad at some people in my life that had the resources and ability to save me. And I was like, rescue me. And they didn't. And I love them for it because you know what? They knew I could make it. And I needed to go through that small victim mentality period because once I got over that, I was done. I wasn't going back to that again. But yeah, man, this is your career. This is what you're doing. This is your full-time gig, and you're going to change lives. You're serving others. And you know what? For anybody listening out there, if you got something that's really special to you and it's a calling and it's a purpose, there's no need to feel guilty about making an income and a career out of it either. Because some people feel that, like, I can't make a living doing that. Like, I just want to give. I want to serve. Like, look, I want to give and I want to serve too, but I don't feel bad that I can make a living out of it too. No. Like, you have a gift. We all have gifts in life. If my gift was carpentry, should I just give it away? No. And other people can't do that. And so you need them. So the other thing too is if you have a gift in this world, don't hoard that to yourself and hide it. Like you were given that because somebody else needed it. You need to show that gift off, and you need somebody else's. You're not serving anybody in this world by hiding your gifts. Why else would you have it? It doesn't make any sense. And some people say, well, I want to be humble. I'm like, you're not being humble. You're being small. Wow. You're being small. You're shrinking yourself. You're hiding because somebody told you that you can't be so big. Somebody told you to tone it down, be smaller, dream smaller. You're crazy. Look, when people tell me I'm crazy, that means I know I'm onto something. I'm like, thank goodness somebody tells me I'm batshit crazy. I got to go after that idea, because so many people said the coaching industry is saturated. You know, you can't have it. You don't have a niche. You don't have any you don't have a marketing campaign. You don't have this. You don't have that. You know what? I didn't have anything when I was broke and I started my business. I had LinkedIn, which was free, and I had me. And so I spent all my time trying to articulate what it is I do. Every single day I would go out and I'd find somebody that would ask me, what do you do? And I hated that damn question because I didn't know how to answer it. I was just, I help people. And it just, their eyes would glaze over. And then finally I started getting good at it. I could say it. I could articulate. Somebody was like, oh, I want to know more about that. I was like, oh, I'm making sense now. And that's when I realized, like, you know what? If I had all the resources, all the money, I would have just kept trying to buy marketing packages and fancy business cards and web pages. And I'd still struggle when someone says, what do you do? I'd be like, well, you know, and I would have bought all these tools. Instead, I had to focus on the basics, you know, and it was beautiful. And I attribute that to the success I was able to have, because you know what? It only took 2 years, and all of a sudden I was able to replace that old income I had from my corporate days. It was a miracle. It was amazing. And I couldn't believe it. And so every year somebody will ask me typically, what did you learn from this past year? And I'm like, you know what I learned? I learned that I don't dream big enough. I don't dream big enough. I don't dream big enough. And you got to give yourself permission to dream big. You have to. You got to dream big, and you got to learn how to say crazy ass shit out loud and be willing for other people to say that's ridiculous. So yeah, every time I thought I was achieving something big in my life, I was like, man, that was actually pretty easy. What am I doing? You know, I got to dream bigger. And because the bigger I dream, the more people I'm serving too. You know, exactly. And the same thing financially too. Some people have a relationship with money where it's like, well, I just want to make enough money just to pay my bills. And I'm like, then you're only making just enough money for you. That's it. And it sounds humble. It sounds nice. I get where that comes from. I used to say that. I just want to pay. I just want to have enough. And I'm like, no, that's only enough for you. I want to make a shitload of money. And I mean that in the best way, because the more I make, the more I'm serving. I don't need to buy. I'm not buying anything else for me. That was me in my 20s. I'm not buying any more stuff for me. I don't want it. I sold a lot of my stuff. Anyone who's seen my journey, I sold almost all my stuff, and I leased out my house, and just so we could just live a simpler life and travel more. So you know what? I want to make a lot of money so I can use that and serve other people, build more programs, build bigger platforms. I don't want to just give it away. I want to use it and help educate people. So that way somebody else can pay it forward. Because if people just gave me money. Now, look, I had a GoFundMe when I first got sick, but I got a lot out of that too. It wasn't just a financial thing. People poured into me. I learned a lot. And I had some again back in September when I had to go see a specific neurologist for my brain stuff. You know, so I've learned how to receive help. But like, look, I want to be able to pay that forward and give some away. Also, be charitable. But I also, most of it, I want to invest in things so I can help educate people. And then you are empowered once you're educated. Now those people are going to go out in the world and they're going to be game changers. So my goal is to unleash game changers in this world, just like somebody else helped pour into me and a village of people helped unleash me in the world. You are not going to reinvent yourself. You are going to rediscover yourself. That's what it's about. You're going to go back to a time when you remember your values and who you are and the beautiful person that you were born to be. And you're going to tap back into that. And you're going to unleash the part of you that you were supposed to, but you lost it along the way. So it's time to rediscover who you are. And you're going to kick some ass.
God, it's beautiful.
So
that Mike, what did I write to you this morning?
I don't remember the exact words. There was a lot of messages today. I'm not being rude. I'm not being rude.
It's like he was reading what I just sent you, man.
It was similar. It was very similar.
It was very similar to just what you just said right now. I wrote him that this morning. The same exact thing that you just told me. That's why I said, man, I feel like we're kindred spirits, bro. Everything that you said. It's a story of like the parable of Matthew and the talents. You know, if you know that story, you know what that teaches you. Man, don't waste it. Why hide it? Why bury it? Why put it in the ground? Multiply it. Make it multitudes. I tell everybody the same thing. You know what I tell everybody? Look, everybody always talks about wanting a piece of the pie. I tell them that's fine for you. I want the whole damn pie, though. If you're satisfied with the small sliver that you get, that's cool with you. Leave the rest for the table on me because I want the rest of the pie. I want it all. And not
just go create your own pie. Screw it all.
Yeah,
man. I'm on keto, guys. I'm trying to stay away from carbs.
Matt,
you give me a nice steak, man, and I'll be all right. You know.
I think he fasted 3 days this week, so you'd be impressed.
Oh, I did 48 hours. 48 hours fasting. So, but it's about what I wanted to. It's me about seeing my challenges. What and not to do it unhealthily, but to see what boundaries I can push past, because these are learning lessons for me. That means if I can push past the boundaries that my mind puts in front of me, nothing will stop me.
Yeah,
nothing will stop me.
Those are your giants, man. Those are your giants. And again, faith or not, I try and tell people, like, I love the story of David and Goliath. So even if you're not a person of faith, it's just a badass story. Who doesn't like that? And so I have this scripture on my LinkedIn headline. It says 1 Samuel 17:48. And the essence of it is a powerful line that's good for anybody. In essence, it just says David ran towards Goliath. Mm-hmm. And what an image for me. Like, who runs towards a giant with just a few stones in their hand? And nobody's rooting for you on either side of the field. Where have you been in life where nobody was cheering for you? Where have you been in life where you were against the odds and you had giants in front of you and nobody gives a shit if you win or not? Matter of fact, people are laughing at you. Mm-hmm. And what do? You run towards a giant. So what are the giants in your life that you should be running towards with just that courageous heart where you're only doing it for you? David wasn't doing it for anybody else except for his faith. He was doing it for God. But that's it. He was doing it for something bigger than himself because he was supposed to. There was purpose on the other side of that giant. And also, I pride myself in being a rule breaker. Not about just everyday rules, but about the unwritten rules of society. The unwritten rules where we're told we can't do those things. We can't talk about ourselves. We can't talk about our feelings. All that crap. And you know what? David was a rule breaker. Why? Because Goliath wasn't ready for a distance fight. He was ready to fight up close. He had his sword and his shield. And David's throwing rocks from like 50 yards away, basically, like way away. Like, he was a rule breaker. They weren't expecting that. That's not the rules of war at that time. It's brilliant. I love that stuff.
Yes.
So I look at those things. You got to ask yourself, what are the giants in your life that you should be running towards? And I'll tell you what, right now, today, there are a lot of giants out there. Not just the ones, like the ones within ourselves. They're being pulled out right now by a lot of external things going on in this world. There's crazy stuff. We got this pandemic thing. We got a lot of anger right now. We got a lot of hurt and sadness with the protests. Like, people are hurting right now, and it is pulling out our giants. And so you got to look at those giants. I've talked about face masks recently, and people really thought I was talking about face masks, and I was. But here's the thing too. I don't care where you stand on face masks or not. The face mask for me is a metaphor to the thing in life that triggers you and evokes extreme emotions, because it does. On all sides of the spectrum, that one thing, this piece of fabric that loops over your ears, has evoked so much emotion and triggered rage to sadness to like everything in some people. So it is definitely a metaphor. There will be other face masks in your life that show up. Mm-hmm. There will be other giants. So you got to ask yourself, what is it about that's triggering you and bringing out something that's deeply, deeply scary and upsets you? It triggers your need for control, to feel safe, all of these things. So it's not about the face mask. Look at what your giants are. If you're finding something that you want to be angry at, you should probably look at yourself first and figure out, like, why am I so angry? And why do I need something to be angry about?
Yep.
So a lot of stuff going on right now.
100%.
Giants.
Man, oh man, I'm telling you, if you're not pumped right now, guys, you probably, first of all, if you're not pumped already, my suggestion is go see a doctor and make sure you still have a pulse, okay? Because I was literally trembling a while ago while you were talking, because it felt like I said, it's like I opened my soul up to you. You were reading everything that was on my script there, and I go, son of a gun, this guy is incredible.
I'm gonna go deadlift my Jeep.
Yeah.
Do this.
Next level. I'm ready for next level. Mike, how are you feeling, Mike?
I'm good.
You're so chill and relaxed. I'm ready to run through a wall, man. And you're just like, what's up?
Look, man, I got 3 kids running around. I got a 3-year-old driving me nuts. I'm doing all right. I'm pushing through today, but it's okay. Couple things. Matt's going to be joining us on the round table July 20th. So that's
right.
huge.
Yes.
Yeah. July
Excited
20th, you're
about
joining us. So that's
Excited
awesome.
about that. Yeah.
And then I really want Matt, I really want you to go into the new program you're doing because
yes, let's go into that.
Again, it's accessible to the masses, and I feel like you need to explain because it's a different way of doing things.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. You know, I've been waiting a long time to roll something out. I've been doing one-on-one coaching now for 5 years, and it's been amazing. But I can only work with 15 people at a time, you know, and it's there's only one of me. And primarily, my audience that I've been working with now, they're elite performers, high achievers, executives, you know, well-performing entrepreneurs, and I love working with them. You know, I work with them over 6 months at a time, and it's been unbelievable, like just the talent that I've been able to work with, but also the human beings. And so my goal is like I want to help people create and live a deeply fulfilling life while expanding their impact in this world. That's what I want to do, you know. But to do that, we got to overcome some limiting beliefs. You know, we got to overcome that saboteur and shadow voice that you hear in your head every day. We got to rediscover your values. And then we can start finding your way forward on how to really kick ass in life, you know, how to be the best that you can be and everything else. So, you know, I'm basically trying to take that and now create a program around it that's easier to access for everybody. Because the problem is that, you know, I'm grateful that I can charge what I charge today, but it's not accessible to everybody. And even if it was, there's still only one of me. So I'm trying to create these programs. There's a survey that's been going out. Some of you probably got an email from me already. I'm getting some feedback and input on this thing on how I can best serve all of you. But I'm trying to create something with a decent barrier to entry because you got to have some skin in the game. I'm sorry. Like if you're out there and you're looking for something for free, like you're not going to really, I promise you this, you're not going to be as into it as if you had some skin in the game. Believe me, when you put some money in, it starts to sting your wallet a little bit, you'll show up. And I'm not talking about that $20 a month gym membership where it's just like, I won't go. No, this is something where you're like, you want to show up because I want this to make a difference in your life. So come in August, you know, look out for it. It's going to be living with a courageous heart. That's the thing I always talk about. Living with a courageous heart to me is living life aligned with your values. Because once you do that, you can do anything. So this thing will be rolling out soon. And if there's a way I can share the link to the survey, I will. Because I just want to get your input. I want to deliver something that you need because I'm confident that I can deliver and help serve you on those pain points. I will not tell you what to do. I'm not going to give you advice. You are smart enough to figure this out, but I will be your tour guide. I will give you tools that you can have that are going to help you along the way. And I'm not a guy that's got a 5-step process to fixing you or to have a 6-figure career. That's not me. I'm heart-centered. I'm going to help you think from your heart. And also the thing is, I'm not going to have you do this weird behavioral assessment test. Like you've done enough of those, the discs and the Myers-Briggs and all that stuff. I don't like being in a box. So you know what? Instead, we're going to just dig into your soul and pull that out to the surface and remind you of who you are. And we're not going to have to put you in a box. You're not going to have to do all these questions. We're going to look within you. So I'm going to give you those tools through webinars and also creating community through Facebook. I know there's a lot of people out there with those programs. I'm also not going to be the guy that says I'm a LinkedIn guru and I'm going to teach you all the magic of LinkedIn. You know, what I'll do is I'll help you learn how to talk about who you are. I'll teach you that. I'll learn, and you can use that in social media. So there's some big stuff coming. If you're interested, let me know about it. Because believe me, all I want to do is really serve. You know, absolutely. So that's what I got going on right now. I got another thing coming out in August too, and I can't talk about it yet. Like I can't. It's like not overselling it, but I've got something really, really cool coming too, and I can't wait to share that. So man, good stuff happening.
Woo! Awesome things, man. That's God, what a wonderful way to do. What a wonderful way just to go out there and make an impact on somebody's lives, man. That's what I shoot for. This is the form that I get to do it with, but this is not the only avenue that I'm going to pursue. Promise you.
That's right.
I will be on the stage. I will have a book. I will do video. I will do movie. I will do all of this stuff here because that's how I've been constructed since the very beginning. Um, I'm a writer at heart. I've always been a writer at heart. Um, I've always been a creator at heart, but it was always difficult to find what drove me to write and what to create. It's not anymore. It's simple,
Right.
and the process becomes so much lighter. And I'm again. It feels like I'm sitting here mirroring my own story, maybe at different points, but it feels like I'm mirroring my own story, and I have an example in life of what it can be like, and that's to me the best part of this conversation. So thank you again, Matt. You're an inspiration. You're fire. You're a lot of things, man. And thank you, Mike, again for introducing us. Because special place in my heart, bro. You don't know. You don't know.
Man, I'm incredibly grateful. And Gabriel, I think you're touching on something that's really important for everybody out there is that no one climbs a mountain alone. You know, you're just not meant to. We're not meant to as people. And so I got people that I climb my mountains with. I've been really blessed. You know, so you got to surround yourself with other high performers because you don't want to just be in an echo chamber where everybody's just nodding and agreeing with you. But you want to be around with people that align with your values and people who are either further down the line than you, where you are, and people who are on the way too. You want to be surrounded by all those people because you don't want to just be the all-star in the room. You want to be with all the all-stars in the room. And, you know, that's what's going to challenge you. That's what's going to make you want to, you know, rise up. But you're worthy out there. Every single one of you is worthy. And you're great as is. So,
Yeah,
Gabriel, you're amazing for aligning yourself with amazing people, for giving them a platform to speak and to serve. And in the process, you're doing the same thing. It pours into you. And you're allowing us to pour into others and yourself.
Yeah, and that's the best thing about it. I take as much from you guys as I give you, and that's the most beautiful part. At any part of their journeys, beginning, end, thing, everything you gave me to do, what you gave me today, there is no value. I can't put a value on what you just said. It's 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 worth more than gold because it can create, what it can do, and what impact it can have. To me, that's what it's worth, all of it.
Right on.
And again, I there's no shame in wanting to go out and make a living doing this. No shame at all. Using the talents, using the things that
Yep.
you were gifted, using it all. I had that misconception at the very beginning. I did. I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, you know what? I'm just gonna serve. I just want to whatever. I've always said, but I always preface it by saying this was never the intention. But when those opportunities present myself, I will be ready to jump. I will not wait. What has happened in my life is I understand that action has led me to a lot of great things. I will never sit here and say, you know what, I'm waiting for the right time to happen again. Action is going to speak volumes of what it is. And it got started by my brother said it pretty simple to me. He said, show me. I was sitting here telling him all my dreams and everything else and all this stuff here. And he shut me down with two words. Show me. That put me in my place. And I said, you know what? You're right. Show you. And it meant to me, show me.
Yeah.
That's what it meant. Show me, not really so much you. Show me that you can do these things.
Yep.
And it really pushed me to a whole nother level. And it's what continues to me. When I sit there and I think about things like that, I always remember those two words.
Show me. Man, I love that. Nothing like having your ass like called out.
It
We
was.
need that. We need that. And that's I have that too, and I've been very fortunate. And so, look, there's no luck in this world, man. You either create it or destroy it. And so this stuff happens because you choose to show up in the world. You know, if you stay walled up in your house, then yeah, nothing's going to happen for you. But if you go out there and take action, you know, you're going to meet people. And look, for me, I've had freakish things happen just because I showed up in this world. You know, I documented a whole journey about waking up at 4:30 in the morning over a year ago. And through that process, man, I met some, it was not meant to be a marketing thing. It was just like, I'm going to share this journey because this is a giant of mine, mornings. So I'm going to do it and I'm going to document it. Man, I met some amazing human beings, you know, some people that changed my life and I've been able to pour into their life. Like, I'm just ridiculously happy. So look, if you're just sitting at home and you're just thinking about doing shit, nothing's going to happen. You got to get out there. Once you start showing up, you're going to start meeting people. And be fearless about people saying you're crazy, because eventually you're going to meet somebody that says, well, I think that's pretty cool, you know, and who knows what's going to come out of that. So, yeah, I think, Gabriel, you're incredible for creating this platform and getting out there because, man, it's going to be an incredible symbiotic process. And same with you, Mike, you know, so you are constantly connecting the dots and introducing people. But I'm so glad to see you in the light.
That's why he's
we need to see you, man.
He's going to be, this is why I'm going to announce it. We're going to be business partners.
Yeah.
We're constructing something as we speak right now. And I told him when we started talking about this, why wait? Let's move. What do we have to lose? Fear? Please.
That's right.
I took the fear of death out of me a long time ago. And if death can't scare me, what in the hell in this world can? Nothing. Nothing can. No man, woman, animal, beast, anything will scare me ever again. And that's how I wake up every day. And these are the things that I tell myself every morning in my affirmations when I talk to myself. These are the things every day. And it's an everyday process. And it will be, like I said, until I'm gone. I'm all used up.
Yeah.
At that point, I've given everything that I can to this world, and I'm ready to go home.
You know, I'll tell you what, though, it's powerful. I've also had I've learned to have a new relationship with fear. And I've learned that sometimes when fear shows up for me, it's actually telling me because something's important to me, you know, that I want to be doing. And it's kind of a nice reminder sometimes when I'm about to do something, I feel scared. I'm like, man, this must mean it's important to me. So I'm going to go after that. Fear's been like, you know, one, it's good for danger, but also two, it like sometimes alerts me when there's something really kick ass coming up in life. And I'm like, oh man, there's a risk, but there's a risk it'll fail. And there's also a risk that it'll be wildly successful.
Yes.
So man, I take a big risk. So yeah, there's not much I fear in life, but when it shows up, I listen, you know.
Yeah, that's a good perspective.
Yeah. Except for June bugs. I hate June bugs. If one of them flies by me, I'll be like, ah! And like my wife laughs at me and stuff. I don't like June bugs, man. They're giant. Their legs are sticky, and I hate them so much. You know, snakes and stuff. I'm fine with that with June bugs, man. I will rid the world of those things. Oh, terrible.
What a better way to end the show, guys. So thank you, everybody, so much for joining along. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mike. Everybody who's commented, everybody that's always a part of this community. You don't know what you mean to me. You guys, again, are the stars of what I do. You give me the lifeblood to continue to do this every day. So thank you so much, Matt, Mike, hold tight. Everybody else, we will be back Monday evening with our 4-hour roundtable. So get ready for that. That will be another one. And I am super excited about this one because there's so many different things that are going to change. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay blessed. Have a good evening. Have a safe and happy 4th of July. I'll be back Monday evening. Bye-bye, everybody.